Hey guys, thanks for stopping by. If you like my video, please like and subscribe. Also check me out on Twitch as Floyd Mason.
Hello, welcome back, Spooks fans. We are back with another Goosebumps original series review, and we are on to book 18, Monster Blood 2. I think the first sequel, right? I believe so. Yeah, I think one of the first ones, and I mean, first of four, like, Stein really apparently loved writing about Monster Blood. First one didn't do so great. As a refresher, it was a C, cover a B, so one of the lowest ones to date. So we'll see if Monster Blood 2 can beat that. I only have one copy. I don't know if they have any of the reprint ones of it. But it's got the little hamster there. I can't remember his name offhand or if I wrote it down. But he's a pretty big part of the story. So the cover at least is accurate. I always hate covers that don't really relate to the book or too spoilery. This one's a little, but it's also one of those ones that, like, I don't mind. Like, it's one of those ones where, like, if this didn't happen, I don't think I'd have a problem with it. Kind of works. Yeah. So this book again is about the same character as Monster Blood 1, Evan Ross, which is also interesting things. I can't remember the other ones. I actually think all of the Monster Blood books are the same, are about Evan. I don't know if Andy's in all of them, his friend from the first one. But I don't know if the other sequels are. I'm trying to remember if Say Cheese and Die Again is also the same guy. Have to, I guess, find out when we get there, because I don't remember. It's been a while since I've read that one. But yeah, so this one starts off with Evan has a dream of trigger-eating monster blood. He grows again, and then he picks him up and starts burying him like a bone. And, you know, again, it's a pretty big Stein thing for the dreams, but I think this one's pretty funny. The idea of him being buried like a bone is very funny to me. And it's like the first chapter, you know, it's a little worse, I find, when it's in the middle of the story. And he does it, and you think something's happening, and it's not. This one's kind of like, okay, like, the story's just started. You're kind of like, okay, what's up? What's going on? A fun little intro. So, kind of reintroducing Andy as well, and reminding you about Trigger and Monster Blood and all that. So, I think it's pretty funny, the idea. So, he wakes up in class kind of screaming about Monster Blood, and everyone's laughing at him. And then he reveals that he's new to the school. So, part of the first book was that he was staying with his great aunt, I think it was, because his parents, one of them, I think his dad got transferred to, I believe, Atlanta. My memory's terrible for facts. But they were looking for the house, and that's why he was staying with his great aunt in the first place. So now they are in that city, and he is attending the new school. So, you know, he wakes up again, and he says, oh, the monster blood, and talking about it, everyone laughs more. And it's a thing where he has told, apparently, everyone in this school about Monster Blood and the adventure he had, which is, don't do that. Why would anyone believe you? So they'll laugh at him more, and then the teacher kind of says, like, something about being dumb, and he calls the teacher dumb, which is just, what are you doing, bud? Not making a good impression in this school. And so he is told to stay after class to clean the cage. I think the hamster's name is Cuddles. I can't quite remember. I might have written it down later. Somewhere in here. But the teacher is Mr. Murphy, and he loves this hamster, and part of the punishment, because Evan will often get punished, is to clean the cage. So obviously calling him dumb leads to that. So Evan then kind of like walks up to the cage, and he grabs Cuddles and he throws him, and it turns out to be another dream, which ends the chapter. And this one, again, I'm not as big on. It just feels like a cheap chapter ending, kind of gotcha scare that he has. And it's supposed to, you know, kind of show that he has to take care of the hamster all the time and how he dislikes the hamster. But, yeah, not as big on that one. First one, much better. So So he's talking about how no one believed his Monster Blood story, and kind of, again, why would they? But just to let you know that everyone is aware of it and that he's kind of the weird kid from it. And then he runs into the bully, who is named Conan. So Conan is just like a big, strong, tough guy who, likes to pick on Evan. I think it implies at one point that, like, I think it was the Monster Blood story that, like, Conan really thought he was kind of stupid for, and, like, one of the main reasons he picks on him. But he lets Evan hit him. He's like, hey, I'll give you one free shot. Hit me as hard as you can. And Evan, being stupid, does it. It does not hurt Conan at all. Conan's a big guy. It actually hurts Evan's hand. But the teacher, Mr. Murphy, sees it. Conan plays it up and is like, I don't know why he hit me, sir. And Evan just gets in more trouble. So, again, Evan just... It's kind of the same as the first book is... And I think what hurt the first book a bit is, like, Evan's not the most likable character. Like, he just seems kind of annoying. Andy's much cooler. She's super cool. Evan's kind of a dork. But yeah, so he gets in more trouble, and so, Mr. Murphy's like, hey, you gotta get back. You're supposed to be cleaning the cage. So as he's cleaning the cage, Cuddles gets out, and he's chasing around the room, kind of dodges him near the blackboard, and he looks up, and he's at the window, and he jumps out the window. So it also does a scene here of, like, Evan dives out the window after him, and then it's like, oh, it's on the first ground, he's fine. So I don't, like, I grew up, like, every school I went to basically was one floor. So this was one of those ones that, like, when it did it, even as a kid, because this is one I remember reading as a kid, I was like, oh, that's first floor, it's fine. You can jump out a window. And then he was. So he chased him across the playground. Kids are kind of teasing him and can't kind of catch up to him. And when he finally does, Conan grabs him and scoops him up and won't give him back, which... typical bully behavior. Evan kind of deserves it for letting Cuddles get free, but he won't give him back. And he says that he'll give him back if he sings for him. And they're kind of debating this back and forth. When Mr. Murphy shows up, Conan plays it up again about how he saw Cuddles scared and how he rescued him, and Evan just gets in more trouble. And again, Stein's doing a pretty good job here of being... showing that Conan is kind of the bully and what he does. But also, I mean, a lot of the stuff that he's doing to Evan, like, Evan kind of deserves it, right? Like, Evan shouldn't have hit him, like, even though he was egged on. Just walk away. He did let the hamster out. So he kind of deserves a lot of trouble he's getting. And he called his teacher dumb in front of the class. So, I mean, you're not going to get away with that. So he's walking home. And he gets jumped on, and, you kind of think, oh, maybe it's Conan or some of the bullies, and it's Andy. So it's kind of the reverse of the first book, and Andy is now visiting aunt and uncle, and she is in town, and she's going to be going to school with him. So I don't remember. I think he did know that she was coming, but didn't know that she was there. So she kind of scares him. So they catch up, she's surprised they told everyone about the Monster Blood. She's like, why would you do that? That's so stupid. And then she says she has a surprise for him, but doesn't reveal what it is. So she's not coming to school quite yet. I think she starts like next week. She's like, oh, I have a surprise for you when I'm in school. Something about that. So next day, it's just kind of, again, doing the thing where it's just him being bullied. Mr. Murphy kind of not happy with him again. He shows him Cuddles, who now is, like, scared and whimpering in his crate. So he's mad at him. Conan puts some water on his chair to make it look like he peed himself. That old classic one. But this is something that Stein does in books sometimes, is, like, he plays up the bullying a bit, and it feels kind of like padding. So I get it, because, you want to kind of show that relationship between him and Conan, how Conan picks on him. You want to show how the teacher doesn't really care, doesn't really believe him, and all of that. But sometimes it can feel a little repetitive. I just kind of wrote, like, oh, like, there's some bullying. Like, it's a little whatever in the book. So he goes and meets Andy after school, and she gives him the empty Monster Blood can for proof. So she's like, oh, I kept it all, even though, because at the end of the first one, Monster Blood disappeared. but she still had it. And she's like, hey, you can use it for proof. And I mean, to me, it's like, okay, like, we've been making fun of you. You just went and made a can and wrote Monster Blood on it. So I don't think it's really proof, and I doubt she's willing to back it. But when they open it, it is half full. So their only conclusion is there must have been a small drop left in there because it can grow to nothing. But now Monster Blood is back. I think it's a pretty good way of bringing it back, of like them not realizing they had it, like Andy keeping the can as a souvenir to remind herself of that crazy thing is a totally reasonable and plausible story to me. So I think he did a good job here of reintroducing it with the same characters. It's not like somebody else found it. It's how they have it, which is pretty well done. So Evan, in one of his smarter moves, wants to get rid of it. I think he wants to bury it right now, which is what they absolutely should do. He doesn't want anything to do with it. He wants to get rid of it. And all of a sudden, Conan shows up and demands it. So they manage to hide it from Conan. I think he kind of drops in the grass behind him. And Conan kind of grabs at a bag. He thinks it's in. The bag's empty, so he just leaves. And they bury it. Andy agrees. She's like, and I think, right, like she thought it was an empty can. I think she kind of suggests feeding it to somebody at this point or doing something with it. But they're in agreement and they bury it. Next, it just kind of does some family stuff. So it has his dad showing him some inventions. One is including a painting he made and a huge wheel that I honestly can't remember what they're for. Some event of the school that his dad is apparently an inventor now. It never really got into what he was in the first book, but it seems like they were moving to Atlanta for his job. Maybe it was the wife's job. I can't remember. But yeah, he just kind of shows his inventions. Kind of it does have a purpose later, but just kind of a weird throw-in thing here. And then the next day, Evan tries out for the basketball team. One of those, again, why? Like the star of the team is Conan and his buddy. So it's just one of those ones that even if you were an amazing basketball player, you gotta know it's not going to go well. But right when he steps out onto the court, Conan tosses the ball at his head and knocks him out. And, plays it off to the coach, who I honestly think is Mr. Murphy again, because apparently this teacher does everything. And basically him and his friend just make him look bad. They give him bad passes. They block him whenever they can. Again, why would you try for this team? They're never going to let you on if there are other stars. But, and then Conan actually picks him up and dunks him into the net. That's kind of, I don't know how or if Stein knows how basketballs work, but I don't think a middle schooler is dunking another middle schooler unless they're playing incredibly no nets. And then, they have to fish him out. They have to stop the practice. Clearly, it's not going to work out. And then Conan had done it earlier, but he keeps like being like, "Oh, sorry about that," and goes to shake his hand, and then just like crushes it. He does like 3 times the book, and it's just like, Evan, stop falling for this. Just keep away from this guy. Like he doesn't like you, and he's an effective bully, and the teacher doesn't like you either. So that doesn't work out. And at this point, Andy comes up with the idea to give Cuddles some Monster Blood. Because Evan's obviously upset. He's upset at the teacher. He's upset at Conan. And he's now at the point where he thinks this is a decent idea. So they want it, similar to Trigger. They're like, oh, the Cuddles will grow really big. It'll be funny, and they won't know what to do. And it seems like a good idea. So they go to dig up the Monster Blood, and it's gone. So they come to the conclusion that Conan must have not left. So when they thought he walked away, he probably just hid somewhere, watched them bury it, and dug it up himself. So he goes and asks Conan about it at school and says, like, I know you have it. And Conan's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then just classic bully move, shoves him in a locker. So they're pretty convinced by the way he's acting. He has it. They can't be anyone else. Like, it would just be very lucky for someone else to find it. Like, it must have been Conan who saw them. So they come with the plan of breaking into Conan's house, which honestly, I think this is a good idea. I don't really see a way around it. I don't condone breaking and entering, but you can't let that monster blood be in someone else's hands like that. So they decide that they're going to break in, and then does kind of the jump scare. There's a guard dog. Turns out to be Trigger, who's followed them. Again, Stein loves his kind of shockers at the end of chapters, and most of them are okay, but they get a little... I feel like at the start of the book, I'm always okay with them, and then because I read the whole book in like one sitting almost, because they're pretty short for an adult, you get very tired of his cliffhangers, because most of them are just not a real cliffhanger. Like, it's, you know, it's not like, oh, Conan, like, and he does have these, but, you know, it's not like, oh, Conan's gonna grab me, and then he did. It's always like, oh, he's gonna do this, oh, and then something else completely different happened, and it wasn't that at all. So they find the kitchen window open, the crack, they sneak in, and they go up to his room, and they find it just sitting there. They're like, oh, we'll have to search for it, and he just left it like on his trophy shelf or something. So, job done. And they are like, oh, we gotta get out of here, but it's already starting to overflow, and Evan gets his arm stuck in it, and as they're getting delayed, everyone comes home. So the parents and Conan all arrive home at the same time. It said where they were at different places, but they're all home at the same time. So now they're kind of stuck upstairs, and Evan is kind of half stuck in the monster blood. So I don't fully get this point, but they sneak out of the house onto a window ledge, and no houses I have a big enough window ledge on like a second floor room, because obviously if it's first floor they would just go out the window and leave. So they're out on this ledge. Conan comes into his room. Trigger's barking outside, so Conan kind of goes to the window. They're kind of trying to keep Trigger down, which at least with that part it makes sense of why he brought Trigger in, right? Like, I think I didn't quite like that. Oh, I thought it was guard dog, it was Trigger, but at least like it's being worked into the story that Trigger is here. But Conan goes away. They sneak back into the house, and they're going to sneak down the stairs. The family is having some food or whatnot, and as they're going down the stairs, Conan's about to come upstairs. I think one of his parents wants him to go get some school book or something from his room, so he's going to get it, and just as he's about to turn the stairs where they would definitely be caught, the other parent's like, you can get that later, like, have some dessert, don't worry about it. And so he goes away. So nice little, like, oh, are they going to get caught item, but then they're able to get down the stairs and sneak out. Again, don't know how. I probably would have just lowered myself off the ledge of the second story, if we're already outside, but maybe it's way too high. I mean, there are middle school kids. I just can't imagine sneaking down through a house and a family not hearing you open and shut a door. They're definitely going to hear that, but whatever. So they have the monster blood now. So they agree that they're going to get rid of it. They're like, hey, like, this was too close. Like, this was a bad idea. Had some time to think about it, and we shouldn't be doing this. And so they leave. Evan goes into school next day, and Cuddles is bigger. So Andy did it anyways. And so there's some filler here, and it just kind of is... it just kind of does like a little bit of a thing. Like, keeps going in, and like Cuddles is a bit bigger, and he's breaking out of his cage. And so he decides he has to do something about it. So he puts a dog leash on it and attaches it to I think he attached it to the desk and skips class, and like obviously the teacher and all the other students are just have no idea what's going on. And like he goes in next day and it's 10 feet big, and it's one of those things of just like, why isn't Mr. Murphy taking it somewhere when it's growing? Like, it's a little weird that he's just leaving it there. And so when he goes in, it's 10 feet tall. It starts to get aggressive. And so it knocks Mr. Murphy away, and they're trying to figure out what to do with it. And this is where we throw back to the dad's inventions, and I can't remember why they're being brought into school, but he knows that the invention is there, and they go and get the big wheel, because hamsters love to run on wheels, and that's their big solution is they'll put it down, and he will run on it. So they run to the gym. Everyone else is kind of scared. They run to the gym, they get the wheel, they bring it in, and Cuddles instantly destroys it. It has no effect, which I thought was kind of funny that they had foreshadowed it before, and you're like, oh, like when you're reading it, especially as a kid, you're like, oh, the wheel, awesome, forgot about that from a couple chapters ago. Great, like, hamsters love that, and then for him to just destroy it was very funny to me, even as an adult. So he breaks it apart. He then grabs Conan, who's freaking out and, you know, crying for his mom and crying for help and all that stuff. So what Evan decides to do is that he is also going to eat monster blood so that he can grow big and take care of Cuddles. It's a terrible idea. Like, I don't know why, you know, no animal services or police or anything have been called at this point. Like, again, he outgrew his cage the day before, and then he was 10 feet tall, and these two kids had time to go to the gym and get a huge wheel and roll it back, and nobody else has done anything yet. I don't know what's going on in the school. They're just not very bright, I guess. But so he eats the monster blood. He grows, but he's not big enough, and Cuddles is kind of attacking him and chomping at him, and it's kind of like, oh, it's all over. And all of a sudden, they shrink back to the regular size, and the monster blood is gone. And Andy looks at the can, and it expired. The expiry date was today. And that's the big twist ending of the book. And that's how they beat monster blood this time. Which makes, you know... that's kind of the end, and then, but it ends with Andy's parents. They find out they sent her some monster blood from Germany, and so she opens the packages and they're like, "What?" I think the teacher's so happy that he sends Cuddles with Evan for a bit for whatever reason. Like, he loves Evan now because he saved Cuddles. So he sends him with him for a bit, and she gets the monster blood, and they turn around, and it's kind of like, Cuddles, what are you eating? To imply that maybe he's eating it again. He's going to get big, and how will they handle it this time? And that's the big ending. So I guess leaving it open for books 3 and 4, because they definitely come back. So that's the story. Even reading it back now, it's so cluttered. It's hard to remember what happens in what order in this book, because a lot of nothing happens. But I don't think it was bad. It's definitely better than the first one. The first one it didn't track as well. This one, at least, like, again, I think it plays out the bullying a bit much. And how they get out of Conan's house is a bit improbable. And why no one's doing anything about Cuddles is also weird. So there's definitely some issues there. But the whole premise of, you know, her keeping the can, it having a little bit in it, them kind of coming up with a plan to get back at the two of, like, the teacher and Conan is not bad. Like, that's all plausible story. And honestly, with these ones, I like something that's at least plausible, right? Like, the first book just was crazy. Like, a witch was a cat. And who knows what that was all about. So this book is an improvement. The only problem is the way that they beat the monster blood is awful. Having the expiry date is very dumb. I actually kind of like the idea of him getting large and, you know, kind of catching Cuddles and putting him back, and then they just happen to shrink, or, you know, maybe they don't even. I mean, you know, spoiler for book 3. I haven't read it in a while. I don't remember, but I'm pretty sure the premise is that he is very tall. So, at least looking at the cover, that's what happens, if I recall. So, not a bad story, but the ending kind of biffs it for me a bit. So, I'm going to give this book a B, which, again, first book got a C, so definite step up there. It's not bad as a whole. It does play into his trope a bit, and, you know, something I'm really realizing rereading these books is a lot of his stories are about bullying. Like, it's just a character getting bullied for a lot of the story. You know, if I'm thinking about, you know, this one does, last one, Why I'm Afraid of Bees, was all about bullying. Can't Scare Me was like reverse bullying, because they're trying to bully a girl who was better than them. Haunted Mask, they're kind of being bullied. Be Careful What You Wish For is about bullying. Like, a lot of the books in a row have just been kids getting bullied. So, hopefully that switches up. I have read the next one, and there's not any kid bullying in it, at least. So that's good. As for the cover, again, the last Monster Blood one was a B, and I'm going to give this one an A. I think it's pretty good. I like that it's Cuddles. The Monster Blood coming off is pretty good. He looks pretty frightening. I mean, the colors are all pretty nice. Like the green and yellow, I think, really go with the Monster Blood aesthetic. It just falls a bit short of an S because it's just not cool enough. Like it's a hard one because like it fits the book. It is a bit of a spoiler because this is what happens the last end of the book. But again, if this didn't happen in the book, I don't think that would be a problem. Like I think it's an interesting enough cover that if they didn't feed it to Cuddles, but it kind of made you think that they did, I'd be like, it's kind of a trick, but not bad. So yeah, that's Monster Blood 2. Decent, a step up. We'll see how 3 and 4 are, because I don't remember reading them at all. But it seems to be one of his favorite things to write about. So hopefully he, at one point, writes at least an A story about Monster Blood. Yeah, that's going to do it for this one. Up next is Deep Trouble, which I have read. I just have to make notes for. And we will get to hopefully soon. Next book I have to read is the Scarecrow one. Scarecrow Walks at Midnight, something like that. Which I hope is a little spooky. Scarecrow stories are always a little spooky, so yeah, looking forward to that one. I don't remember it. Again, I'm starting to get to the point of the books where I remember parts of them. I might remember it when I'm rereading it, but I could not tell you a thing about the story. I don't remember anything that happens in the story, which is perfect. That's where I wanted to get to kind of re-experience some of these. Because as I said, as a kid, I probably read all of them. I probably read at least 80 to 90% of them. There might be one or two that I just never owned or never found in the library. But yeah, that's going to do it for me. So thanks, everyone.
Thanks for watching. Please click to check out my other videos, like and subscribe, and come by Twitch under Floyd Mason to join my live streams.